Hello, everybody. Uncle May. Uncle. Hello, everybody. This is Uncle Garrett and Anime again. Today, we are going to talk about the things that erode relationships. We all know that the common problems like uncontrollable anger, depression, jealous, that will sure slowly ruin the relationship.
Well, do you mean uncontrollable, like it can't possibly be controlled? Or do you mean just uncontrolled, like it could be controlled, but it's not?
Both cases, sometimes people can control, but they just slipped. And sometimes people, they just couldn't, shut down. They couldn't hold back, feel like uncontrollable.
Yeah, I think, I've met people who have said, oh, I just have my anger, and I have a short fuse, and that's just me. I get angry. But I've noticed things like, when they're talking to their boss, they don't get angry. or speaking to anyone in a position of power, they don't get angry. So I think it can be controlled. They just choose not to.
All right. So it proves it's right. And if you're trying to work on that, I have a video called Meditation to Overcome Your Emotion Problems. So work on it.
Yeah. And if you have truly given up and you feel like, well, I just can't control it, well, give yourself another chance. Really put your mind to it. I think you can make progress on this issue.
I'm sure you will. All right. Do you have anything to add?
I do.
Okay.
So one important point I thought was falling into the trap of contempt. And that means seeing a problem in your spouse and resenting them for it. And the opposite of contempt is curiosity. Because curiosity leads you to understand, where that problem is coming from and the difficulties in overcoming it. And when you're curious, then you can, that prevents being contempt, because in order to hold someone in contempt, you have to just think they are really stupid or weak or something. And that's usually not the case.
Contempt is not good feeling, either from you or the receiver. It'd be terrible to feel that way to the one you love. Sometimes, your spouse have a problem, might be a blind spot. He or she never noticed that. So you're lovingly, respectfully talking about bringing it up to their attention. That's just to encourage them to overcome that. That'll be result greatly. And it could also be subconscious running a previously downloaded toxic program. So pointing out and help he or her to overcome the problem, that will be greatly appreciated too. So try to help along.
Mm-hmm. And that reminds me of another point we had, was unconfronted and unprocessed trauma is very erosive to relationships.
I just want to add on one thing, that is patience. Patience is a form of love. Curiosity is also a form of love. Don't give up this too precious love.
Yeah.
So untreated trauma, is that what you're talking?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, and if you have untreated trauma, you're going to be you're going to be mimicking some of the negative behaviors of your abusers. You're going to be lashing out unreasonably, disproportionately because of that trauma.
And you may not realize if you had trauma, you may not realize, but the reality is you have a lot of triggers, and that unproportionately you can get triggered and react really intensely, that could ruin the relationship or got into big fight. So I'm going to make a video called Meditation to Heal Trauma and PTSD. So stay tuned, and we all can heal ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have another point?
I think dishonesty is a big issue. I believe honesty is the foundation of any relationship. If your spouse figured out this one incident that you lied to him or her, and not only ruined the trust, but they could become more suspicious for your future words and your future actions. Are you lying to me again? Are you lying to me again?
Like trust is easily broken down, but hard to build up.
Very much, very much. So,
how far does this honesty go, though? I mean, if the classic example is the wife asks the husband, "Do I look fat in this dress?" Does the husband gonna say, "Well, yeah, honey, you do, and you look fat in everything"? That's very honest.
I would suggest lovingly and respectfully honest. You could say, "Honey, this dress looks beautiful on you. And if you can lose more weight, you will look even more fabulous. And honey, we should really improve our diet, and we should go out to do more biking, hiking, and walking, and more exercises. Do you agree, honey?"
Yeah, that might be hard to take, but at least it's respectfully honest, not brutally honest.
Yes, be gentle. Honest but gentle.
Yeah. So, and that reminds me of another point I had that erodes relationships is expressing your emotions or criticizing disrespectfully or angrily. Yeah, so I think it's pretty obvious, if you act with disrespect or anger, that's going to hurt your relationship, of course, right?
Yes. Most people's problem, as I said previously, either are in the category of blind spots or in the category of the base brain running the toxic programs they didn't, catch. And another scenario is a misunderstanding. But no matter what category it falls, the spouse who carry this problem, they may not intentionally to carry this on you. So being angry on them, they will feel being attacked and being mistreated. They will feel terrible. Yeah.
So that's a pretty obvious point.
Yes.
Another point I had was avoidant behavior.
Oh.
And that is avoiding talking about some of the tough things, that you should talk about, but you aren't, because it is tough, and it might lead to hard feelings, and it might lead to a very difficult discussion and even an argument. But avoiding that is even worse than the argument, because it's going to come out at some point. Like, you've heard so often, we ended up divorcing over who washed the cup, right? And what it is it's not really about who washed the cup. That was just the match. And the box of dynamite was all the tough issues that you've been avoiding talking about all along.
Set up a family time, talk time, once a week, or depending on schedule, and
That's helped us so much in the past, hasn't it?
Yeah, ask a spouse that where you can improve to be a better husband and wife for them, and also express your observation if there's something they can improve, or just talk about issues. There's a lot of issues need both parties to involve to figure it out.
Yeah.
I have another one, which is self-centered. It becomes more and more popular these days, is it? A lot of people just focus mostly on their own feeling, their own issues. That is not enough to maintain or improve a relationship.
Right. Yeah. Marriage is not for you, it is sort of, it's for you as a tool for self-improvement, because, your spouse is always the best expert on all your flaws and where you could improve.
Do not always try to press down the other party. You will always be right and always have to follow your rule or highway, your my way or highway. That way will not work.
Yeah.
That personality has to be changed to fit in a marriage. There's two parties need to be equally happy, equally respected.
Right.
So you have to consider the other party. They are happy, then you will have a happy marriage, because their energy will reflect back on you.
Right. Yeah. And kind of the flip side of that is, once again, the avoidant behavior, where one side buries himself or herself, and doesn't dare express their own preferences or feelings, because of fear of backlash or what have you. And if you're in that situation, that's and that could also come from the trauma that we referred to earlier. If you've had a childhood where you were severely punished every time you expressed a preference or asked for something,
or disagree with your parents.
Yeah. So, and from that, sometimes people learn to just bury themselves and never be a real participant in a marriage. And that goes back to confronting and overcoming trauma.
The best marriage is two parties grow up together, help each other to overcome their weakness and problems.
Yeah. So I had one more point.
All right.
What it is? And that is treating valid complaints as criticism. So a classic example of this is the wife says, I feel lonely. I feel you're not spending enough time with me. I like more time. And the husband treats that as criticism or an attack, when it's really just a cry for help. Just a request. Please spend more time with me.
Yeah, ask her, what's happened? And how do you feel?
Yeah.
Just listen. Give her time to encourage her to talk. Just patiently listen and pay attention to what her concern, her worries, her frustration. And she will appreciate that.
And I think it goes both ways, but
yeah,
I think
both gender, yeah.
Yeah. And, I have this idea that in some ways, spouses are each other's psychologists. And in a really good relationship, I think, for both Aunt May and I, we do kind of act like each other's psychologists. We listen to each other and and sometimes just in the process of listening, just asking questions just to help dig deeper into into the deeper thoughts and the deeper feelings.
It does require ourselves to understand ourselves, to understand why we feel this way, and find the problem. Sometimes you may need to invite your spouse to step in to help you figure out what's wrong, why you feel this way. All right, that's all for today. And if you like it, please click the like button. And please share it if you know somebody might benefit from this video. And we wish you have a happy relationship. And until next time, this is
Uncle Garrett.
Aunt May.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.